If you're a fan of Yuri anime, Citrus is either the pinnacle of Yuri romance or you hate it with a fiery passion. Pretty much from episode 1 of this adaptation, it's pretty easy for people to write off this one as Yuri Fanservice. The forbidden love genre is often found in shoujo ai manga and appeals to many readers, thus making Citrus one of the most popular Yuri series out there, considering the fact that it's heavily focused on it. Citrus follows the budding romance between newly discovered stepsisters Mei and Yuzu Aihara. Right off the bat with this adaptation, I was really satisfied with how well it came out. It really stood out to me how the anime made the setting pop out more than the manga did. I never really felt the surroundings in the manga, and I'm really glad with this since it holds an importance in the show. But the real question is how the anime holds up to the manga. The anime and manga are extremely close. The most that was skipped over was little things like internal dialogue. For me personally, the most significant deviation is right at the beginning in episode 1. In the manga, it's very clear and unambiguous that Amaya is assaulting Mei, whereas in the anime, it's presented as though their kiss is far more mutual than it actually is, which completely recontextualizes the scene and Mei's character. But instead of going over the minute differences between the manga and what was adapted, I'd like to go over why I think this anime gets so much hate. To understand this, let's analyze one of our main female heroines, Mei Aihara. Mei is a character with practically no conception of right and wrong, let alone the idea of consent. She has never been shown or had any experience of what a true romantic relationship is like. The only proper relationship she has ever really had in her life was with her father, and after he left, Mei felt as if she was being abandoned by the only person she really had. Mei has been taken advantage of, used, and basically treated like a student council robot by her grandpa. At the beginning of the story, there is no Mei. There is just an empty shell that does what needs to be done in the name of the Aihara family. She has no mother, no father. Mei has had no emotional support ever since her father's absence. She is used and neglected by her grandfather, is constantly taken advantage of, and is under perpetual social pressure to follow her duties accordingly for days on end. Which leads us into the most vocalized issue, the non-consensual sexual content in the first episode. There is a common misconception that Citrus treats sexual assault as a form of love and blossoming romance. The actions of Mei undeniably walk on the borderline of sexual assault. None of these instances are framed as romantic or mutual in any way. The first of these depicts Yuzu struggling while Mei lashes out her aggression in response to Yuzu's innocent curiosity about Mei's romantic affair. Nothing about this is painted in a positive light. Later events like this are blatantly shown to be a byproduct of Mei's misconception of how relationships work, or a means to vent her frustration. These occurrences are in no way the foundation of Yuzu's romance towards Mei. Yuzu develops interest for Mei long before this, and you can see through the many times Yuzu becomes flustered and nervous just at the sight of Mei. Yuzu's own attraction to Mei is not even apparent to her. Overall, with what I previously stated, Mei's attitude towards romantic and sexual relationships is completely distorted, and the idea of Citrus romanticizing assault is completely untrue. The psychology of Mei is one of the main things which this story lives through, and is one of Citrus's most fascinating aspects. As frustrating as her actions can be at times, the consistency of her character and relatability of her plight makes her highly sympathetic. But with so much about Mei already covered, it's only fair to dive into Yuzu's character. Yuzu has to be one of the most likable and lovable characters in manga or anime. Her earnestness and plucky can-do attitude is a standard trope, but there is way more to her than that. Yuzu at the start has an idealistic view of the life that lies before her. She acts with unrelenting confidence in almost all occasions, expecting everything to go smoothly and perfectly in line with what she envisions. Yuzu is on a constant struggle to comprehend her feelings. She knows that something is amiss about Mei, invoking a feeling of concern. At other times, she wonders if what she does hurts Mei more than helps. This confusion is a result of their inability to communicate with each other effectively and coherently. More than you may realize, this is completely mimicking typical romance between teenagers. They just happen to be both female. Yuzu doesn't understand Mei, and by extension doesn't know how to act around her. The two of them have been raised in completely different conditions, and thus operate and communicate differently from one another. They are quite literally and figuratively the yin to the other's yang. The way Mei gradually becomes more open to Yuzu about her feelings and personal issues is a cathartic and satisfying affair in and of itself, and it's kept at a natural pace throughout. Not only this, but her behavior changes for the better the longer she spends time with Yuzu. Little by little, she displays improvement and development as she makes decisions of her own and acting beyond her own mental protocol. Overall, the story at large is rough around the edges with its frequent use of coincidences. It's also arguably flawed in how many things are framed as formulaic routine, with a new girl continually intruding on the situation to move the plot along. But if you have already seen this anime and dropped it, and anything I've said gave you something to think about, then perhaps it deserves a second viewing. Whether in manga or animated form, Citrus is definitely a gem of Yuri anime. Hey, you've made it to the end of the video. Now, I want to iterate, ignore all the hate directed at Citrus online, give it a chance and make up your own mind. Citrus doesn't break new ground when it comes to storytelling. It's a classic tale of two people from very different backgrounds falling in love with each other, facing the trials and tribulations that come with such relationship, providing layered and well-developed characters whose actions are realistically influenced by both internal and external conflicts. So this anime versus manga ended up being largely different from the others I've posted. Usually there's a drastic difference between the manga and anime, which usually leads into anime bad, manga good, I won't lie, but going into this one, I knew that the adaptation stayed fairly true to the source material. This ended up becoming more of a character analysis with some explanation on why I think this series gets so much hate. And based on my top 6 Yuri anime series video, it seems as if it was a 50-50 split on liking Citrus or not. I was actually pretty surprised at how divisive the comment section became when it came to Citrus. Now here's a sneak peek for the next anime versus manga for the few of you that made it this far. I'm thinking of doing either a video on My Next Life as a Villainess or Bloom Into You. I'm still pretty split on which one I want to do. I may end up doing a poll on Twitter or the community board. But nevertheless, if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it, and let me know what you think of Citrus. Is it purely Yuri fan service, or do you agree there's more to it? Leave the video a like, remember to subscribe for more, and yeah, I hope to see you in the next one.